So yeah, today we are playing Izzet Pheonix in Explorer. It's been a while, but find match. Best of 3 ranked Explorer Izzet Pheonix. All right, let's get this started. So yeah, it's been a while since I played Pheonix. Just sort of felt like going back to it today. No particular reason. Let's see if it works out. Alright, waiting on our opponent. Alright, this hand has... It's got a bunch of cantrips. It's got a Pheonix, so eventually we'll figure out how to get that in the bin, and then we'll be good to go. Well, they have Grazer ramping, and the old sleight of hand into double sleight of hand. It's a classic. Yikes. That's potentially a lot of ramp. Yeah, okay. That's concerning. I'll take another Pheonix, I guess. And consider end step. Okay, yeah, they are gates. So that's interesting. So we're just gonna have to kill them relatively quickly before they get their whole guild gate thing. But currently we are just spinning our tires. Alright, Simic guild gate. Valky. That's fine. I don't hugely care about that. I mean, it's annoying to lose one of my Phoenixes, but it's fine. Alright, now we cast an Opt. We're looking for an artist's talent or something similar. Still looking for an artist's talent or something similar. Gosh, if only this was on our turn and we had a Pheonix in the bin. Alright, we found an artist's talent. So, in you go. And now Treasure Cruise. This card is great. And we will discard a Pheonix. Do we want to discard a Pheonix this turn? We've cast one spell and we can realistically only cast another one. Now let's play it a little bit cagey. Just discard a land, draw our 3 cards, and play a pathway. So next turn, we are just gonna cast 3 spells, get our Phoenixes back, and start winning the game. And hopefully that'll be fast enough. We're gonna hold on to the Opt, because we don't want to run out of spells to cast. Alright, second artist's talent is not really what I'm looking for here. I need every bit of mana I can get. There's one Pheonix in the bin. I would love to take Torch the Tower. So that gives me my Pheonix back into my hand and also puts another Pheonix into the bin. And then we play a tapped land and an opt. Put this Pheonix in the bin. And I would love to keep a Treasure Cruise to refuel next turn. And now we attack for 1 billion. And their poor Arboreal Grazer can chump block one of them. Alright, we should be in good shape. There's no Maze's End to be seen. Yeah, Gates Ablaze doesn't really matter. Yeah, they acknowledge that. Alright. Gates. What sort of stuff is Gates gonna have? What's this up here? Is that a graphical bug? Yeah, that's a graphical bug. Alright, let's take in Third Path Iconoclast and Crackling Drake, because they're probably gonna have Graveyard Hate. I don't really understand what their plan is for winning the game, aside from just ramping into Maze's End. So I think we can take out those burn spells and replace them with something. Maybe Prismari Command to answer something, and Brazen Borrower to answer something. So with that, we should be a fair bit more resilient against whatever Graveyard Hate they have, and other than that, we're just going to kill them. They didn't really play any creatures. Don't really expect them to change that. Alright, we have Artist Talent, we have Pheonix, we have a cantrip. Seems pretty good. Alright. They get their early ramp. We get... let's just play Artist Talent this turn. Next turn, if we want to play Prophetic Memory, we can. Otherwise, we can just go for triple spell, get a Pheonix. Just adding Yorion to hand. Alright, I think we go for triple spell and get a Pheonix here. Opt, spell number 1, Pheonix in the bin. Picklock Prankster is great for the future. Sleight of Hand, spell number 2. Flood Mod doesn't seem to matter. I guess we can take it in a null. We're not going to have it up this turn, but maybe in the future. I kind of like all of these cards. I also want cards in my graveyard for the Treasure Cruise. Let's put the land back and say we're probably going to find another one off the opt. We don't, but we do find a Third Path Iconoclast, which is probably better. We attack, no Grazer Chump Block this turn. Guild Summit, draw a card. Play a tap land, draw a card. Good old Divination. I'm going to play our Prophetic Memory here. And get rid of Brazen Borrower. Find another Brazen Borrower anyway. Okay. Understood. So we didn't hit the 4th land, but we do have a 5/4 now. So that's pretty cool. We also have a null available if that matters. They are wishing for a Rest in Peace. Nice try. Let's throw back second Treasure Cruise. And let's see here. Yeah, we're just gonna cruise here. And see what we can get. Don't really need Brazen Borrower. Alright, we find more lands. That's pretty good. Play another blue source and a sleight of hand. Grab Prismari Command in case, I don't know why we would need it, but you never know. Alright, I'm going to get that Treasure Cruise back. Now we have a giant Pheonix, and they're probably going to chump block this one, I would imagine. Alright, they have successfully gained 11 with their Grazer. The bad news is now they have to fight an 11-10, and I think their removal is Gates Ablaze. So that might be a bit tricky. Alright, Yorion to draw a card with Guild Summit. Alright, they're tapped out. Not gonna mess around, just win the game. I'm not sure how they went to -10 there. I actually should have put them to 1. Like, I actually just missed lethal, but they died anyway. So that is an interesting thing to have happened. Oh, yeah, okay. That's not getting the most bug-free Magic the Gathering experience here. As long as it's just minor visual bugs, I guess it's fine. But hopefully they fix those soon. Alright, Zero Lander. 1 lander with a billion cantrips, an Artist's Talent. I'm gonna keep the Treasure Cruise and get rid of the Sleight of Hand. Alright, find me another land. Success! We have done it. We've turned our 1 lander into a 2 lander, and now our hand is great. Okay, now our hand kind of sucks. They take the Artist's Talent, and we are struggling. Okay, we just draw more lands naturally. You love to see it. Let's consider Fiery Impulse, Basic Swamp. They probably Rakdos midrange. Fire Impulse is probably fine, but I think I just need my own action going. And Fire Impulse does not do that. Also, they might be like some weird nonsense, like Market Backwalker apparently. Do I want to Fiery Impulse that so they draw a single card off of it? Yeah, that's probably for the best. And then next turn we can Treasure Cruise. Walking Sarcophagus. Alright, the opponent is officially in meme territory. 5, 6, 7. I guess it's some sort of like mono black artifacts deck. I don't know why you would want to do that, but sure. Alright, I managed to completely brick on mana. So let's free the Fae again. And there's all of the mana. Alright. Now we're in trouble. So I have no lands, I have no cantrips. The one saving grace is that my opponent has registered Walking Sarcophagus. which is a huge plus for me, probably. Alright, beseech the mirror. What are you cooking? The what now? Creature spells you cast cost 2 less to cast whenever your creature you control enters. If you cast it, destroy that creature, then make a zombie druid creature. Okay, so the sarcophagus is supposed to be a free creature with this in play. I'm going to play out the Prankster and hold up a null. Seems like they're probably going to have something that I can get with all this counter magic. And yeah, Shambling Ghast. Right, if you cast it, destroy it, then make a 2/2. Okay. Opponent is cooking. I don't know what they're up to, but it is. It is certainly spicy. Alright, we're just gonna Spell Pierce that real quick. And we find a Sleight of Hand. Into double Pheonix, the illusion of choice. And I don't think casting a second Picklock Prankster is worth tapping out of my interaction. We're just going to leave it be. Okay, yeah, this is what they're up to. They're a Sararak combo, so this is going to bounce itself back. And I think I'll just kill that guy real quick. Put a Pheonix in the yard. So yeah, their plan is to go through the dungeon a billion times. And make a bunch of zombie druids in the process, I guess. That's pretty cool. Alright, let's try to get a Pheonix back this turn. We can. That's nice. I would still love a 4th land at any point. The graveyard is looking great. Take a treasure cruise. 1, 2, 3... 4, 5, 6, 7. Alright, we hit a land. And we can Flood Maw away that zombie druid, I guess. Now let's see. We are tapped out now, so they might be able to get us next turn, but if they can get us through us killing their combo piece twice, then, you know, fair play. Alright, just a Fatal Push on the Pheonix. Don't worry, that one will come back. At some point, probably. It's a bit dicey at the moment, because the only... Yeah, we have literally 0 reliably castable instants and sorceries. Alright, Meatball Massacre. Alright, let's just spend this turn setting up. So we can play Prophesidetic Memory. We can cast this Picklock Prankster and make it a 2/4. And then next turn we can go wild with Treasure Cruise into some more stuff, and hopefully the Prankster gets out of control. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Cast me a Treasure Cruise. They are thinking as if they might use a demolition field or something. Alright, I've somehow managed to brick on more castable spells. So that's very cool and normal. I'll play Artist Talent and hold up interaction and then just attack. I think I've messed with their combo enough that they'll have to do a lot of work to rebuild it, or like draw a very specific thing. So we should have time. Like they're through 2 Beseech the Mirrors and an Acererak, which is a lot. Opponent is definitely thinking. They probably don't have anything. They're probably just not noticing that they have to click through their demolition fields. It looks like they're going to use them. Alright, now let's play the Do I Have a Basic game. I have 2 basics. That is plenty. Alright, and Artist's Talent, discarding an Arclight Pheonix to the other Artist's Talent. Please find me a castable spell. Opponent is still sitting and tanking on their demolition fields. I still don't think they actually have anything relevant. Alright, there's a Picklock Prankster. That goes a long ways. So now, if I need to, I can Fire Impulse this one, and it'll live, and that will be 2 spells. So it should be fine. Even if it isn't, like we're putting a billion counters on the Prankster. Yeah, opponent concedes. Alright, I don't understand what they're doing. They're up to some nonsense. Seems like they have lots of enchantments, so we'll bring in a second Annul. They're probably going to have Graveyard Hate, so we'll bring in the alternate win cons. We can bring in Brazen Borrower as well as an alternate win con, and then all these removal spells. I guess Lightning Axe can kill a Acererak, but I don't even know that that's what I want to be doing. We'll leave 1 Lightning Axe in, just in case we get him with that, like we did that game, but who knows? It should be fine. Alright, well this is a mono blue hand, but it's like a pretty good one. Yep. Shambling Ghast, don't care. Sleight of Hand. I can't cast Third Path Iconoclast at the moment, but it's going to be really good once I can. Whereas Picklock Prankster is just fine. I mean, it's good, but it's not a game-winning threat like Third Path Iconoclast. Alright, there's the Market Back Walker. Get a Sleight of Hand again. Grab an Artist's Talent. Alright, now we really just need a red source. And also to not die to our opponent's combo, which I still don't fully understand, but I think it's just like 2 mana I think it's just cards with 2 generic mana in the casting cost. Need a red source. Not. Alright, red source acquired. Let's go the Iconoclast route. And if they try to kill this, we can consider in response to get some value. Alright, don't need another flood mod. Do need another land, that's great. There's the Beseech sacking the Marketback Walker. And do they get that same enchantment as last time? They do. The Sibzig Ceremony. Well, I'm going to play an Artist's Talent and leave up Interaction. I would Flood Maw plus Opt to prevent them from doing anything funny. Yeah, I think we take this block. They're going to get their value out of this at some point. May as well be now. Alright, they're in their second main phase. And now they have a lot of mana. They Beseech the Mirror and put it into their hand. Alright, I think... Actually, we may as well opt first. It doesn't cost anything to do that. Put Pheonix in the bin. Alright, let's bounce the Sibzig Ceremony. So now Acererak gets to do the dungeon thing once, but no more than that. And we even have a Spell Pierce, which... I don't know, probably won't do anything, but, you know, it's a thing that we have at least. Let's Picklock Prankster. Getting rid of a Steam Vents. And bricking on the Picklock Prankster. Hate to see it. 5, 6, 7. Treasure Cruise. Get rid of Sleight of Hand. Alright, we find a tap land. Now, do we start doing our own thing, or do we let them do Acererak plus Sibzig Ceremony easily? I think we have to start doing our own thing at this point. So we have a Pheonix, we can attack. They can get a bunch of zombies. So they have a demolition field, so they can't... Like, this combo is very Black Pip intensive. I don't think this goes infinite, because they only get a treasure every so often. Alright. My Pheonix is not scary at the moment. Alright, go blank is kind of brutal, but probably fine ultimately. Just gonna keep our cantrips. Alright, we draw a null. That is actually huge. So I think we just bounce that and counter it on the way back. And I think we just keep our cantrips again. So now they have a couple zombies currently in play, but all they're getting is just incremental dungeon value. Yeah, I'm very happy to trade my Pheonix for their zombie. Ooh, Prof Eidetic Memory is great. It does mean I won't be getting back the Pheonix this turn, but there's always next turn. And in the meantime, I would love... yeah, an additional mana would be helpful. I would love a 5/7 Vigilance. So if they have another Sibzig ceremony, they can start again and make a bunch of zombies, but 5/7 Vigilance is a lot with a Prof Eidetic Memory in play. Alright, Relic of Legends. So now if they have the Sibzig ceremony, then they make infinite zombies and I need to kill them. Alright, Beseech the Mirror. Alright, I don't think I've lost, though. Wait, no, I have technically lost. So this is infinite Acererak casts, and they can go into the, what is it, the Dark Pool or whatever, an infinity amount of times. Alright, we could sit here and let them inevitably lose on time. That is both very boring and also kind of lame. So I'll give it to them. They have the infinite. Alright, so now we know like exactly what they're doing. Lightning Axe is good, actually. Negate is kind of good. Annul is definitely good. We're leaving those in. I did not see any graveyard hate from them. I think we take out the graveyard hate juke for game 3, and if they have it, then good for them. But I think currently we're operating under the assumption that they're just strictly a linear combo and they're trying to do their thing. Alright, so we have double Lightning Axe to kill a Acererak. We have Brazen Borrower to bounce the ceremony. Should be fine. I'm going to turn 1 Sleight of Hand. Grab an Annul, that is great. Let's do another Sleight of Hand. Grab a 3rd land. We need all of those, and then we can pass. Razor Lash, something something. Comes back from the graveyard. And it's a 2-mana 3/1 that can't block otherwise. Okay, that's fine. Love to see a Treasure Cruise. I think we consider main phase here. Yeah, let's take a Spire Bluff Canal. Just make sure the mana situation is all good. We can take a couple points of damage every so often here. We're probably not going to lose to them doing fair things. Alright, there is an unlicensed hearse. We do still have annuls to beat that. So let's just higher than minimum cost treasure cruise. Draw some cards, play an island, and pass with Spell Pierce available. Alright, Market Back Walker, X equals 2. That's some good value for them. Picklock Prankster is exactly what I need to get this party going, and Artist Talent as well. Let's go Artist Talent, free the Fae. Throw away a Lightning Axe. Grab more Picklock Pranksters, honestly. And now we kind of need to shock in here just to respect leaving Spell Pierce and Lightning Axe up in case something happens. Alright, we are under a lot of pressure here. Which I don't love, but we should stabilize next turn. Let's get rid of some of their stuff real quick. Lightning Axe, Brazen Bower, not needed here. Yeah, they can draw 3. Not overly worried about that. Alright, let's lead on a treasure cruise. And then figure out what we're doing from there. And we will get rid of a tap land because we do not need those at this point. Apparently we do. Alright, there's a Pheonix. That is very important. So second spell for the turn is Free the Fae. Put Pheonix in the bin. Does that return to the battlefield? It does. Okay. Well, we have a choice between opt, and opt. We're going to choose opt. And we're going to cast it. And throw away a tap land, find another tap land, but an actually good one. Okay, now here's the tricky part. I guess we Lightning Axe to kill that. Put the Pheonix in the bin. And get rid of Spirebluff Canal to draw a card. Excellent. Turn a tap land into an untapped land. So that'll be gone for now. It'll enter with Summoning Sickness next turn. So I don't really care about that. Now we start pressuring them. Alright, they have Fatal Push, which slows us down a lot, but I feel like we're in the driver's seat at this point. They probably can't have the full infinite combo, like they can make a couple zombies, but nothing too impressive there. Alright, go blank is very strong for them. If we discard Spell Pierce and a land, we keep a null and our cantrip. I have to rebuild from the graveyard again. Yep, and then that bozo comes back. No finality counters. Alright. We find a Prophytic Memory. That is possibly the best card in our deck. Let's play a Picklock Prankster. And I think we put the counters on the Picklock Prankster so that we have a good blocker. And it's still like reasonably likely to result in them dying next turn. And we have counter magic available, so I'm not super scared. Alright. Market back Walker, X equals 2. I could counter that, or I could just let them have it. I think I just let them have it. Like, the thing I want to stop is their combo. Market back Walker, X equals 1. Alright, we have no card draw this turn. So I guess we'll just level up Artist's Talent and attack for 7. Now we have lethal on board, and we have 2 blockers. So will it be enough? Hopefully. We have 2 counter spells, so if they play artifacts and enchantments, or if they play non-creature spells, then we should be good. We'll take those 2 blocks. Take 2 or 3. They could pump up the Market Back Walker to make that 3 power. And hopefully they just don't have it. Hopefully they were banking on me messing up with this attack. Their deck definitely seems cool. I just don't think it's all that good. Like, they got me once, but not the other times. So now I'm at 3. I still have lethal. I still have 2 counter spells. Alright, so they can Beseech. And I think we're supposed to let the Beseech resolve and then counter the thing they get with it. I don't actually know that it matters either way. Alright, no Relic of Legends for you. And I'll have my negate. So even if they... I guess if they got the Relic of Legends, they would have won with the Serac. Now they don't have enough mana to do the rest of the combo. Alright, Takenuma. Meat Hook Massacre, absolutely not. Yep, good game. Izzet Pheonix is so fun. It's been a while since I played this deck, and yeah, it's got a whole bunch of fun stuff you can do. And the interface is all messed up, but who cares? I don't need no interface. I wonder if that's on my side, like maybe it didn't download right, or if it's on their side, like some sort of bug. I think it was normal before I played my first game, so I think it's probably just a bug. Alright, let's keep this. We've got cantrips, we've got interaction. If they're a creature-based deck. If they're not a creature-based deck, we sort of have very little, but it'll be fine. We have another treasure cruise. Up the beanstalk. Alright, plan is kill them fast. Floodmaw, not great. Up the beanstalk has an ETB trigger. Alright, Prophesidetic Memory definitely helps with the kill them fast plan. So I'm going to leave red stuff up, but they're just going to play another beanstalk. And discard to hand size with no land. Alright, we have a very solid opportunity here. Just see if we can get ours set up in first. Sleight of Hand turns these Torch the Towers into useful cards. I'll take a basic land, it doesn't really matter. I'm just going to set it on blue either way. You need way more blue than red with this deck. Alright, they find their third land and it's a Cavern of Souls and an Overlord. Alright, well their mana problems are gone in an instant. None of these are anything valuable. Let's Treasure Cruise. 5, 6. Farewell, my poor graveyard. I guess technically Lightning Axe has text. Well, let's get rid of a land. Who needs lands? Alright, what I need are creatures. And I still have none of those, and Opt isn't going to get one into the graveyard, so I think we pass here. Alright, Thoughtseize is fine. They'll take my Treasure Cruise probably. I guess they could take the Opt to try to mess with me in the short term, but Treasure Cruise makes way more sense. Alright, another Overlord. They draw a billion cards, make a 6/6, and make a pair of 2/1s. Yeah, so this is a significant problem because now my Phoenixes need to attack through those 2/1s in order to do anything at all. I think we get rid of one of the Lightning Axes. This is kind of ridiculous. Like, where are my creatures? Like, I put creatures in this deck, right? Right? Alright, there's a Pheonix. There's a Pheonix, but I can't use it this turn. Yeah, okay, this is ridiculously unlucky. So we pass with interaction up, and then hopefully next turn we can just hard cast a Pheonix, play a couple things. Alright. Let's kill Zerd, discard a null, I guess. And also discard Spell Pierce. We're going to go through this until we find a cantrip. Alright, we did not find a cantrip. Yeah, so now we've basically lost. Beanstalk. What a What a fair and balanced deck. So now we play Arclight Pheonix. We can make it a giant creature, but then we take 8 to the stupid insects. And also, like, at this point our graveyard is even starting to get awkward. Alright. Pheonix away. Bankster away. Pheonix away. Yep, so now we can't do anything except stay on defense and hope they have nothing. Because we can't kill them this turn. Alright, they didn't have nothing, so we died. Ugh, I need to build like one of those mono red aggro decks so I can ever in my entire life not lose to the stupid Yorion Beanstalk Overlord style decks. They're so irritating. They're gonna have graveyard hate, so we take in all the graveyard hate stuff. Removal isn't good against them. Lightning axes are fine, but not great. I think we have 2 lightning axes in because they kill Zur. But other than that, we just have to hope they get unlucky, and that's like our one route to victory. Well, we don't have red mana, but we do have a couple cantrips. So we're going to take Opt because we need cantrips in the short term to find lands. Alright, we have managed to skillfully avoid finding lands in a billion looks. And they, of course, have a Rest in Peace. Because naturally. Alright, we find a red source for the Artist's Talent. No cantrips. And they have a Rest in Peace in play. I will forever be wondering why so many people play Rest in Peace when Arclight Pheonix is such a niche deck. Alright, this technically works through Rest in Peace, but it doesn't find me anything good, and it exiles my Crackling Drake. Alright, now they have an Overlord of the Mistmoors. Yeah, I think I just play a pair of 1/3s and hope that this is enough, and it's not going to be enough, and we're going to lose. Like, there's actually just nothing you can do against these decks. Oh, I'm starting to remember why I don't play Arclight, why I haven't played Arclight Pheonix in a while. It's just everyone has a billion sideboard cards against you despite being heavily favored in game 1. It is all you can do to not instantly die post-board games. Alright, this is fine. We're going to bottom a null and just think we are not in that sort of matchup. Oh, we were playing against Burn, so we lose. Cool. Cool, cool, cool. Let's try to find interaction. I guess technically a 1/3 blocker is interaction. But if they have any reasonable hand, we've lost this already. So let's hope they don't. They are the Gruul version, which is marginally better, and we top deck a lightning axe. That's pretty good. Play a tap land and see what they do. Just swing in for 4. And it's the mouse. Alright, well, we're gonna look for more interaction. Because, oh boy, do we need it. Alright, so we can kill the mouse. Throw away the picklock prankster. It's way too slow. We can... Oh, I'm dumb. I meant to put the Pheonix in the bin so that I could then get it back. And then have it as a blocker. That's a mistake. It's going to cost me some life in the short term, probably. Alright. Do I have outs? I guess technically yes. It's possible I draw like a bunch of removal spells off of this. How about a bunch of Phoenixes that I can't get into the yard or into play? Yeah, so at this point we need for them to have nothing ever for the rest of the game, and that's just not going to happen. So let's bring in all of that stuff. Let's bring in Iconoclast as a chump blocker. And what do we take out? I think we take out Treasure Cruise as just way too slow. And pick one Picklock Prankster as well. Like, we don't need to draw 3 to outvalue them. We just need to not die. Let's hopefully win this one. And hopefully they'll bring in like a bunch of bad graveyard hate cards, because this is the matchup where the graveyard hate cards are like actively detrimental for them to be using, because I don't really care. Alright, we're on the play. We have infinity removal. We are keeping this. Alright. Let's play Artist's Talent on 2 and then plan on Angering on 3. Please do some crazy Burning Tree Emissary stuff. Okay, Heartfire Hero, that's fine, I can torch that. Yeah, let's just anger these ones away. Just take a 2-for-1 while we have it. And have a billion pieces of spot removal for the next couple of creatures. Another Heartfire Hero, which I can torch the tower so it doesn't get its dies trigger. And Paw Patch Formation. Why? Why are you doing this? Just play cards that kill me. Like, you spent 2 mana to do nothing, and now I kill your board. And I find a Pheonix. And I'll play this on red, so I have Fiery Impulse available as well. Screaming Nemesis. Alright. Well, I don't gain life, so I don't care all that much. Just gonna kill that pre-combat. Take my 3. now we start attacking. And now we continue attacking. Alright, we are ahead in the race. Questing Druid. Alright. That's scary, but I have a Fiery Impulse. Goodbye. Now do you put me to 10 or do you kill the Pheonix? Alright. We have managed to dodge 3 points of damage. Alright, now we just have to sit here and figure out how we actually win the game. I think we just Anger of the Gods the Questing Druid before anything unfortunate happens. Alright, I could do with drawing like 2 less lands. Heartfire Hero, I will Flood Maw that at an appropriate time. I'm not going to play the Steam Vents, because at some point I'm going to draw something that discards cards, and I want cards to discard. Okay, Innkeeper's Talent. So I'll let them go to combat here. And that's Ward 1. Alright, so this isn't quite as good as I would hope, because they can just replay it this turn. But off you go. Alright, Snakeskin Veil. Well, we're in pretty serious trouble. Although, look at that. How much mana do I have? I have to discard a card here. Because of the ward. Alright. I'm down to 5. I need to do something cool soon. How about a Spell Pierce? That's what you wanted, right? Not, you know, a creature or a Prophet's Eidetic Memory or anything. No, Spell Pierce. That's what we want. Alright, Fiery Impulse is not the worst. It at least helps me stay alive a little bit longer. Let's go. So we got instant value out of our Spell Pierce, so you love to see it. Alright, and we once again have a threat. Alright. Consider is pretty good. Leave it till end step. Because I might need to Desperation Dig for something to get me out of a pinch. Alright, now I just need another Pheonix. And that'll be lethal, because they're at 6. I don't need another freaking land. Find one anyway. Very cool. Alright, now we opt looking for another Pheonix. Alright, we Sleight of Hand, looking for another Pheonix. We find one. I shouldn't be playing so many of these pathways on red, but... Alright, we get there, and we manage to steal a game. So, what have we learned from that? They have Innkeeper's Talent for some reason. Sure. I think the plan is same as last time. Like, we just need to present a clock at some point, and we should be fine. That hand's no good. This hand is fine. We're going to put a Pheonix on the bottom, which kind of sucks, but we need to find our interaction. Alright, sleight of hand into a consider. There's the Heartfire hero. We have the torch to answer it cleanly. We love to see it. And we're just gonna do that before they untap and have any funny business. Alright, we'll let these both hit, and then I guess we'll consider. Alright, we find another consider anyway. Another Iconoclast is unironically good. So now we can use this one in combat a little bit more. Assuming they let it get to that. Alright. What if your Swift Spear were back in your hand for some reason? Does that beat the Reckless Rage? No, it does not. Alright, we will take our 3 again. And we'll play another Third Path Iconoclast and another tap land. And let's just... hopefully this consider will work. And they'll be slowed down. Another torch the tower. I'm going to consider again. Now we have a pair of 1/1s. And I guess Lightning Axe is fine. Not crazy about it, but it's fine. So we can double block the etching. And that is one creature dealt with. Alright, I think this is defensive Arclight Pheonix. I would love to get a block in. Even a chump block would be fine. A trade would be great. Alright. I let Innkeeper's Talent get through, which kind of sucks. It would have been great to have Spell Pierce for that. We're going to take our chump block. And Lightning Axe, the Swift Spear. Alright, now we just need to find a threat. And also these Dens of the Bugbear are going to be a problem. As are these Heartfire heroes, unfortunately. Man, it would be great if we drew our cards in, like, a different order. Yeah, so now this is a 5/5 and a 7/7. And I need to draw... not that. And we unsurprisingly lose to the aggro deck. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know, man. Like, you kind of just lose to aggro decks. You kind of just lose to the go bigger decks. And you're like 50-50 against the mid-range decks. It's like, why do you play these decks? Alright, this hand is good. We're gonna get rid of Spell Pierce because it probably doesn't do anything in the matchup. Yep. Probably called it right. Oh, this is the cat's deck, huh? Alright. Let's play a tap land. So yeah, they have a whole bunch of Witch's Oven, Cauldron Familiar nonsense going on here. So I'll put an Artist Talent on the field and hope to do something cool next turn. Meanwhile, I slowly lose my life total to the cat oven. There's the Scavenger's Talent, which means now they net food, which they can use to make mana. They have a second cat. Alright, we have a Fiery Impulse at least. So let's just try to get our Pheonix back and see what we can do from there. It's gonna be hard, apparently, to get our Pheonix back. Yeah, and we failed to get the Pheonix back. So we can only cast 2 spells this turn now. I guess a null, but yeah, so now they are going to get to do their thing. Yep. They get a billion foods. They drain me. And we get to sit here. So we can Fiery Impulse their Goose as, like, kind of something impactful. Oh, I would love to be playing Rakdos Demons, where I have, like, crazy sideboard cards that completely obliterate this. But I don't. So they get to cast Rottenmouth Viper. Alright. I will discard a Steam Vents. So we sleight of hand away the Hall. Alright, we at least get to cast our spells this turn. We opt. Discard a null. That seems too late. Ooh, Treasure Cruise. That's fun. Wait, but if we keep double Fiery Impulse, we can just do 3 to you, do 3 to you. And I think we can discard the Pathway. Alright, that's the Viper gone. We can discard the Pathway looking for something better. Alright, well, the Rottenmouth Viper is gone and we have a Pheonix, so that is a huge plus. The downside is they still have the stupid Cauldron Familiars. Ugh. Second Witch's Oven. This is fine. Another Gilded Goose. Yeah, so now you get... I mean, if you ever level that up, it's very, very bad for me. But let's just ignore that and just cast a Treasure Cruise real quick. Lightning Axe does nothing. Let's cast another Treasure Cruise. 6, 7. And we put a Pheonix in the bin. And wait, this is actually great. So now we play Prophecytic Memory. Put another Pheonix in the bin. Then we kill the goose, discarding an opt, so that they don't have a blocker. And we discard a consider. And they take a silly amount of damage this turn. In fact, they might be very close to dying. Haven't done the math, but yeah, they're dead actually. Alright, well that was messed up. I feel like this deck needs to run at least 2 or 3 copies of this card. It is so good. Alright, we bring in another Annul, 2 Prismari Commands. They're going to have Graveyard Heat because everyone does, so we'll bring in those guys. And get rid of Fiery Impulse, Lightning Axe. Keep Torch the Tower because it might snipe a cat, but other than that, I'm just going to run it back. Yep, we could keep this. We have Prophecytic Memory. We have Artist's Talent. We have 2 cantrips. Alright, they have a goose. We play land go. No need to cast a cantrip preemptively here. Unlicensed Hearse, naturally. Let's do an opt. Right, there's a Pheonix. I think we play Artist's Talent this turn and Prophecytic Memory next turn. Because that'll let us cycle off of the Prophecytic Memory. Or loot is what the word is. I keep saying cycle when I mean loot. Alright. Vine Reap Mentor. Alright, they kind of just have a bunch of random nerds. And an Unlicensed Hearse, ruining my fun. Alright, let's play a tap land here. Next turn, we might end up just going Arclight Pheonix, attack you, and then hopefully just stack up a bunch of card draws on it, and then win from there. Alright, they have the Scavenger's Talent, which is very, very scary. Still no Oven, which is good. But that Scavenger's Talent is going to cause serious problems for me in the near future. Now we cast an Arclight Pheonix and attack. And then hopefully the Pheonix lives to next turn, and I can cast triple Consider, maybe even a Treasure Cruise. And then make a Giant Pheonix. Sentinel of the Nameless City. I've seen this card a couple times, and I guess like the logic is it's just kind of a decent card, but it doesn't really do all that much. Alright, we managed to untap with a billion card draw. Hang on. I guess we can put a Pheonix in the graveyard. That's fine. And let's consider again. Get rid of a tap land. I would like to kill the Gilded Goose. We don't need another treasure cruise. It's going to be very hard to cast the one that we have. Alright, third path Iconoclast actually makes me kind of want to pivot here. I'm going to play that. And then consider again. And we draw another one. We put the counters on the Pheonix so they can do a giant attack with it. They're going to unlicense curse the Pheonix that's trying to return. Alright, they take a chump block, unsurprisingly. It gives them a food because Scavenger's talent is good. And then hopefully... Alright, they don't have removal for the Pheonix. Which means if we can just draw 10 cards next turn, then we just win. And they haven't leveled up Scavenger's talent at all. Oh, hang on, I'm at 8. I think I can live this by double chumping. Alright. We take our chump blocks. And we go to 2. Alright. It is time to draw a billion cards. So we start off with the Artist's Talent. And third path Iconoclast doesn't matter. Alright, now we Treasure Cruise. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Alright. And we will discard the Sleight of Hand. We will discard the Floodmaw. And we will draw 3 cards. Alright, another Treasure Cruise is, I think, gonna be good enough. Discard the Steam Vents. Discard the Odawara. Put Spell Pierce in the graveyard. And we Treasure Cruise again. And we will discard the Pathway. Oh, this deck is so fun when it works. Discard the Sokenzan. Draw 3. And we will opt for good measure. Discard the Spire Bluff Canal. Discard the Storm-Carved Coast. Bottom that, I guess. And kill you. Prophetic Memory. What a silly card. And honestly, I feel like the deck has got to have 2 copies of it. Like, it is just like your best way of winning the game quickly, which I think is very important. Alright. We mulligan a 0-lander, we mulligan a 0-lander. We reluctantly keep a 1-lander. And I guess we keep the Annul since it's like one of the only cards that does anything. 2 cantrips should be enough. Oh great, we've mulliganed to 5 against Rakdos Demons. And now there's a strong thought to taking my cantrips and letting me just die, but it's probably the Treasure Cruise is always the right pick. Like in 99% of situations, they take the Annul. Okay. Do they have more discard spells? They have a fear of missing out. Alright, we will consider into the graveyard. And we will main phase opt. The Pheonix on the bottom. Alright, how many looks was that? Yeah, that was a lot of looks. And now we just die. We have no more cantrips. Alright. I guess we get the Artist Talent in play. And then they have a Fable to follow it up. Of course they do. Alright, we have been very good at hitting our land drops, so that's a plus. But we've been very bad at hitting anything that actually like impacts the outcome of the game. Like, for all this, we are still just spinning our wheels. And that will apparently continue. The wheel spinning will continue until morale improves. And they have a Thoughtseize, which I would take the Sleight of Hand, honestly. Artist Talent would also be a reasonable pick, but yeah. So now the only cantrip I have is like a natural draw and Artist's Talent. Oh hey look, a demon. That's cool. Well, we're gonna cast our Artist's Talent, discard a Riverglide Pathway, and concede. Alright, so we need to fight against Graveyard Hate. We need a Null and Negate to beat their Unholy Annex. We need Anger of the Gods to beat their small creatures. Yeah, we need a lot of things. Alright, so what can we cut? Probably Opt. So Sleight of Hand is actually better than Opt because it doesn't draw a card, which is very important for finding answers to Sheoldred. And then I guess we can't cut more than 4 cantrips. That would be very foolish. I guess we cut the Fiery Impulses and one Torch the Tower to bring in a Prismari command. So that's better against Unlicensed Hearse. And hopefully the Anger of the Gods will carry us against the small creatures. Alright. Here we go. We have Anger and 3 cantrips. Alright. Decent turn 1 sleight of hand. I'm going to get Thoughtseize, probably. Durest, same thing. I wonder what they'll take. They take the Artist Talent, leaving me the Anger. Okay. Play Spire Bluff Canal while it's untapped. Alright, they have a Harvester. Let's see what Picklock Prankster gets me. Gets me a Treasure Cruise. Not gonna complain about getting a Treasure Cruise. Let's consider to set up the Treasure Cruise, make it cheaper. Double Pheonix in hand. Not where you want the Pheonix to be, but if we can get them into the bin, then that will be great. Alright, we don't have Negate available, so they can play their Annex this turn. The old triple Blackcleave Cliffs mana base. Alright, Thoughtseize. Take Treasure Cruise or Anger, I would say. Take the Treasure Cruise. I think these Thoughtseizes are fine for me when I've cast a Treasure Cruise. Like, it's not the best thing in the world, but it's certainly manageable. I think I just hard cast a Pheonix. Just get some pressure on so that the race isn't completely embarrassing for me. There's the Mutavault, probably Annex showing up as well. Alright. I'm going to play Picklock Prankster and a tap land and have Negate. Alright, you can duress. Yep, there goes the Anger. And you can Thoughtseize. Probably going to take the Pheonix. And probably going to play an Unlicensed Terse? No, just a Blade. Take 3 this turn. Alright, if we can get this Pheonix back, we can make them regret their life choices a lot. And we can't. Third Path Iconoclast, not the worst card to draw, but I need more than that. Alright, that's a great thing to negate, so I can get an Iconoclast trigger. Which makes the Blade of the Oni Menace a lot worse. And they torch and exile my Pheonix. I'm still just going to die to this Unholy Annex, unfortunately. Alright. What are they gonna do? Attacking with the Blade of the Oni. Or not? Nope, they're just passing. Alright, getting rid of the Iconoclast. I'm just gonna die here. I don't have any way of dealing 12 damage. And they have 2 demons, so like there's really nothing I can do here. I can't Lightning Axe both of them. Alright, let's try another one. I've had lots of very fun matches in the Rakdos midrange Izzet Pheonix match. But that was not one of them. That one we just sort of got steamrolled. Alright, waiting for our opponent. I would love to see them mess up and let me play first. Nope, they didn't. This hand is fine. We've got cantrips, we've got lands. Alright, opponent, what do you have in store for me? Alright, opponent, why are you taking forever for every single decision you have to make? Could you simply play fast? Please? Please, opponent? I would like to play Magic the Gathering at a rate of more than one action per day. Oh, they're probably just roping from turn 1, aren't they? Yeah, probably. Well, I'm going to sleight of hand. Grab a Pheonix. Mana Confluence, Thespian Stage, Sylvan Scrying. Great. Well, this is the Lotus Field matchup, which certainly is one of the matchups of all time. So they're not quite to getting the Lotus Field in play yet, unless they have a Stifle effect. They grab a Viseju. And they play a natural Lotus Field, sacrificing their Thespian Stage in the process. I don't know about that one. I guess maybe it's fine if they have another one. Alright, now we get to play the fun minigame of how do I kill them before they win in like a turn or two. And the answer is I don't. Like, the answer is I've lost this game already. They have 2 Lotus Fields. It's effectively over. We're gonna make them have it, I guess. Probably should have bottomed that, but... Well, we're gonna attack for 4. And then they get to do their thing. Yep, alright, cool. They are doing this thing. I'm not gonna sit around here and watch them do it. Alright, bring in everything with power and toughness. Bring out everything that deals with creatures. Mystical Disputes and Negates in. Annul in. Floodmaw out. 1 Sleight of Hand out. Alright, well, we have a whole bunch of stack-based interaction. Maybe it'll be enough. It probably won't be. Alright. We have a turn 2 Iconoclast, and a whole bunch of cantrips after that. We're just going to lead on a Sleight of Hand. Grab an Artist's Talent. Hopefully Iconoclast double opt will be fast enough on the play. And hopefully they don't have interaction. If they removal spell for my Iconoclast, like that's basically all she wrote. They normally don't, but they might. Yep, they do. Okay, cool. Alright, plan B, play Artist's Talent. Don't make a land drop. Okay. We have an Iconoclast again, but they have a Strict Proctor, so now they can start playing Lotus Fields. Archdruid's Charm puts a Lotus Field directly into play. Another Balaged Sanctuary. Alright, let's try to find some actual, like, anything to do with her, with lands and stuff. Alright, we find a 3rd land. It's actually pretty huge. Now I just want a way of dealing with the Strict Proctor so that the Iconoclast can attack. Doesn't seem like I'm going to get it. Alright. Well, we've done what we can. We have presented something that vaguely resembles a threat. And now they get to untap Lotus Fields 50 times and win. Second Strict Proctor, Archdruid's Charm. Are they not gonna pop off this turn? Apparently not. Alright. I guess that's good for me. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Treasure Cruise. Get rid of Spell Pierce. I don't think we're going to be piercing any spells today. We can consider another Pheonix into the bin. And we can Petty Theft one of the Strict Proctors. And I think we just attack with everything. Alright, they take the damage. They don't even block the Iconoclast, which is great for me. Oh, Omniscience. That's fun. Alright, what does this do? Stuff can't be countered. Then they get another Strict Proctor. And then they Fae of Wishes and Approach of the Second Sun, which just randomly gains them 7 life. And then the Emergent Ultimatum, and yeah, okay. What fun games of Magic we play, where one person takes a bunch of game actions that don't matter and then the other person wins. It's just great, you know. I'm glad that people think the aggressive decks and mid-range decks are the problem in this format. That's a reasonable opinion for people to have. And definitely not completely unhinged. like what are we supposed to do? Like the mid-range decks just die to everything. Alright, let's Picklock Prankster end of turn, I guess. Just fill up that graveyard. Opponent is doing something fair, which is good for me. We're going to pass and Picklock Prankster end of turn again. Right, I don't know if I have any basic mountains in the deck. I don't. So we're on mono blue. Oh, are they blue-white control? Is that what's going on here? Yeah, that looks like what's going on here. Well, we got a Pheonix into the bin, so that's cool. I have no idea how I'm going to get this Pheonix in my hand out of my hand, but we can deal with that when we get to it. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Cruise me some treasures. Did I count wrong? Please don't counterspell me, bro. They did not counterspell me, bro. That's good. But I didn't draw a cantrip. I still haven't drawn a cantrip. Alright, we are bricked. So we're just going to play out a Prankster. And pass the turn, discarding a Spire Bluff Canal. Alright, there goes another red source. They're not going to take me off red. I have another 2. But I do think that means I make those discards this turn. Alright. Let's Treasure Cruise again. Getting rid of every card except the Pheonix. Alright. I will absolutely pay 3 to keep my Treasure Cruise. And play a Spire Bluff Canal tapped. There's another red source. Let's get rid of 2 Lightning Axes. Those seem like they're not going to do anything against blue-white control. Alright, one of these days, I'm going to successfully resolve 3 spells and get that 1 Pheonix out of my bin. Alright, let's get a Prophytic Memory. That seems fun. Alright, that resolving is huge. And Artist Talent in play. And all of these cards have been showing up in, like, the most inconvenient possible timing. But we have 3/5 Picklock Prankster. Let's attack in. Pretty good against Wandering Emperor. Shark Typhoon X equals 3. Alright. Fine, you can chump block, I guess. You may as well have made a 1/1. Please. I'm just trying to play the game, man. Alright, and I can Odawara that and then annul on the way back. Alright, so let's sleight of hand here. Put another Pheonix in the bin. Take an Opt. And Opt, second spell. Get rid of Spire Bluff Canal. And do we want to just play to the temporary lockdown again and then deal with it next time? I think so. I think getting all these Pheonixes back is going to make the temporary lockdown kind of incredibly mid. And at the same time, like, the Prophytic Memory makes them kind of have to cast it anyway. Alright. We have managed to put our opponent to 10. They're just going to deduce. And what sort of nonsense do you have? If it's not pretty good, I'm just going to win here. Like, temporary lockdown is absolutely not enough. Cracking a clue bodes well. Alright, Supreme Verdict is probably not enough. I have 14 cards in my deck. Alright, they've conceded, which is good because it saves me from having to not accidentally deck myself. So let's bring in all of this nonsense. Bring out all the creature removal. I mean, how many enchantments did they actually play? Like a couple? I don't need a nulls. And we'll go down to sleight of hand. Alright. Hopefully we can win a post-board game. We have 2 tries at winning post-board. This is fine. Don't want to mulligan if I have a decent hand, and this is a decent hand. I think we pass and have Spell Pierce available in case we get the opportunity. Otherwise, we're just going to opt end of turn. Picklock Prankster is great. Alright, so again, we're just going to hold up interaction. And if they don't do anything worth interacting over, we have Picklock Prankster. So let's do this. Start filling that graveyard. Right, they have no more lies. Alright, I have Sleight of Hand into Artist Talent. Normally you'd want it to be the other way around, but that's fine. Now we're tapped out, so they can do something cool around all of my counter magic. But if I untap, then we're in decent shape. Okay, they just have a March. Play a tap land, go. Yeah, let's flash in a Brazen Borrower. Start putting the pressure on. And same thing with a Third Path Iconoclast with a bunch of protection. Alright, Cycle Shark Typhoon to block the Brazen Borrower is pretty good. Can't counter that one. Alright, well, I've got a handful of counter magic and a 2-1. Let's Mystic Dispute that. Improves our clock and stops them from getting 2 good cards. All of Storm Giants would be great. They have a Field of Ruin, but at least it's something. Alright, what if you didn't Memory Deluge at all, ever? Have you considered that, opponent? Alright, yep. The expected Field of Ruin. Grab me a basic. What if you didn't Narset either, actually? Oh, what a silly game this is. Now at this point we need to hold the negate strictly for things that deal with our board. Ooh, Picklock Prankster is great. Alright, I'll take Treasure Cruise and negate the Wandering Emperor. And now we draw 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And this could all come crashing down if they have a temporary lockdown or something. But we pass and hope they don't have it. Alright, they didn't have it. Third Path Iconoclast plus approximately 6 counterspells. Confirmed good. Alright. Let's do another one. Alright. Opponent has a Kellen avatar, which probably doesn't mean they're playing Kellen, but last person was blue-white control and they had Teferi, so you never know. I'm going to play a tap land on one. And basic mountain, insolent, neonate. Alright, this is going to be the sharks, isn't it? Alright. Well, let's see if hollowed one without the hollow one, which I believe hollow one isn't in the format. Let's see if this deck is actually any good. I suppose technically this could... No, this is definitely red-white discard. Guardian of New Something or Other. Discard a card. This creature gains indestructible until end of turn. That's incredibly irritating. I don't like that. Alright, let's just get a Pheonix back and see where we go from there. Or maybe not get a Pheonix back. We're going to need to hit cantrip off of this one. And we do. Alright, there's our third spell for the turn. Take a Fiery Impulse. Alright, the Pheonix has returned, and we're attacking for 3. So next turn we can like Lightning Axe stuff, and then Treasure Cruise. This Guardian of New Benalia could be mildly annoying. Like that. Could get in for a lot of damage very quickly. They have Torch the Tower, because of course they do. So there's Pheonix down. And just an attack for 3. MtG. Alright, I have 5 cards in the bin right now, so this is 6. Yeah, they get to do that. Just a Sacred Foundry, fortunately. Alright, so that's... Next up, we will... Is this even worth it? No, I'm gonna Flood Maw that. So off you go into the hand. And then we Treasure Cruise. 5, 6, 7. And give me something good. Alright, Prophetic Memory is definitely counts as something good. I think I'll shock in to hold up Lightning Axe. I don't know if I really want to use the Lightning Axe though. Especially against the stupid Guardian, which will just come back. Nope, I think we pass here. And I think we Proph's Eidetic Memory, Picklock Prankster. And just say, like, we have a big creature. Our creature is probably better than yours. Alright, they discard a Fiery Temper to kill the Picklock Prankster. That's pretty cool. Fortunately, that is not going at my face, though, so I think I'm still ultimately fine with that. I get chipped for 2. So let's fill the graveyard up again. And Fiery Impulse your Guardian just to make you discard stuff, which you might not want to. There goes another Fiery Temper. This one's going to the dome. Yeah, I think that's fine, though. And let's play Picklock Prankster. And is it another Fiery Temper? Is it another Fiery Temper off of the Guardian? If so, that will be very annoying. Because I can't afford to keep taking lightning bolts. Right, it's not, at least not right now. So next turn we can draw a bunch of cards and have a giant vigilance creature, which hopefully will be enough. Alright, they reanimate Inti. And they can attack for 3-ish. Alright, that's fine. I'll just take 3. Hitting another Inti is not super impactful. And that's going to go away at their end step. Alright, so first... Alright, first off, I think we kill Inti. Just make sure that this guy is not around to cause problems. And I think that's 3 or 4 of them down. Alright. And now we Treasure Cruise. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And we get a bunch of counters. Alright, there's an Arclight Pheonix. But I can't... Because I waited too long, so that has Indestructible right now. So I'm just going to draw a couple of cards real quick. No big deal. Play a tap land. And now I have a 6/8. And stop on your upkeep. Lightning Axe you while you don't have any cards in hand. Ding dong, the witch is dead. Alright, they play their land that they got off of Inti. They have one unknown. Hopefully not going to be doing 6 damage single-handedly. Just an Insolent Neonate. Alright, let's free the Fae as spell 1. Bricks, because of course it does. Free the Fae as spell 2. And... Lightning Axe, I guess, gets me my Pheonix. Sweet Lightning Axe. Target that. Discard the Pheonix. And then we Treasure Cruise and they die. Alright, so they are discard shenanigans. They have lots of smallish creatures. They're probably going to have Graveyard Hate. So we pretty much just always board those guys in. And probably Spell Pierce isn't good. A null didn't seem great. And I think we just got 2 sleight of hand. Call it a day. Alright, let's try to win a post-board game. They might have High Noon in there or something. Probably not. Doesn't really synergize with their deck, but they are red-white, so it's possible. More likely is just like a regular old Unlicensed Hearst style stuff. Maybe even Rest in Peace, if they really hate fun. Alright, opponent, you get to play first this time. Alright, hand is pretty good. Got Artist Talent and Interaction. You lead on Steam Vents tapped. The Stormcarved Coast will be untapped on 3 for anger if we need it. Right, there's the Unlicensed Hearse. Somewhat expected. Still going to run out the Artist's Talent. Still a very powerful selection. So that we can find our answers to Unlicensed Hearse. Alright, tap Sacred Foundry and Soul Partition. Okay, that's annoying, but not a huge deal. Play a land and do some cantripping at end of turn. Screaming Nemesis. You hate to see it. So I think that's probably gonna, unfortunately, be Anger of the Gods next turn, which is not great, but because I'm still gonna end up taking a bunch of damage. Alright, give me a Treasure Cruise. I need those. And opt, find me something better than a land. How about the same land? Okay, well, goodbye board, goodbye 3 more of my life. So they can discard the, they can use the Insolent Neonate's ability, which is fine. And then they also lose the Screaming Nemesis, and I go to 11. And I can't gain life for the rest of the game. Oh no. However will I live without my life gain that this deck definitely has. So next turn, I could go Artist's Talent plus Picklock Prankster, or I could hardcast an Arclight Pheonix. Or I could do something else if I draw it, but another Screaming Nemesis. I think I probably lose to second Screaming Nemesis. I have to kill it immediately, which really hurts. It hurts so much. Okay, they're thinking about crewing up the hearse, I think. Okay, I think that's probably fine with me. And I'm still probably going to lose this game, but them tapping their hearse by attacking with it does leave some openings. No, they're not going to. Okay. Yeah, let's just get our own pressure into play. Arclight Pheonix coming in. Out of the hand. And onto the board. Now, if they tap the hearse and then crew it next turn. That's an attack for 4, which doesn't kill me, but would certainly be very scary. I imagine they'll wait until it's actually lethal, though. Alright, so that is 5 mana total. Alright, cool. Screaming Nemesis. Part 3, and we die. Alright, do I have any counterplay to Screaming Nemesis? No. Do I have any counterplay to Unlicensed Hearse? I guess Prismari Command over the other 2 Sleight of Hands. But we pretty much just have to hope they don't have a bunch of Screaming Nemesis. And then, yeah, that's the plan. I guess we keep this. It's got plenty of cantrips. It's got a lightning axe. Land go. Instant Neonate on 1, as always. Cantrip on 1, as always. Floodmaw is a pretty good draw, I think. Just helps slow them down a lot. I can take 1 from a Neonate and not really care if that's all they're intending to do. Alright, Shockland, Guardian. Gotcha. Well, time to free the Fae. Yikes, there goes my 3rd Path Iconoclast. Take another Lightning Axe, I guess. And I'll play the Picklock Prankster on its other side. So the good thing about Guardian of New Benalia is it does kind of encourage them to empty out their hand relatively quickly. Like they're just using this to save it a bunch. Alright, pass to attackers. They attack with both. Pass to blockers. That is Menace. Why does that have Menace? I'll block the Guardian. And only take 1. And they probably have something here, right? Discard a Fire Temper. Alright, you could have done that pre-combat. You could have done that pre-combat and then just gotten an additional point of damage in. So that was somewhat pointless. Alright, Inti. Inti is going to go. Discard other Lightning Axe because I do not have the resources to be casting more of these. Alright, Artist's Talent is great. We're going to play that and pass. Seems like there's some lag issues as well as the interface bug. Alright, Screaming Nemesis. And I guess we'll Floodmaw the Screaming Nemesis. No? Making different attacks? Alright, they're using Enlist. This is actually great for me. So they get to scry 2, and then I get to bounce their Guardian and not worry about it. Alright. Single target removal spell. Success. Alright. Now we just need to... No Phoenixes in the bin yet. We need to find one. Or apparently just find a bunch of Spirebluff Canals. I think we Fiery Temper the Screaming Nemesis is worth it. So we take the 3 now, but then that's just gone. And if... Alright, still... Alright, we managed to consider a Phoenix into the bin, which is incredibly lucky, but I am not going to complain. So now we are doing pretty well. They have 4 unknown cards. Alright, they're just casting a Monument to Endurance. And torch the tower, because of course it's exile-based removal. Why wouldn't it be? Alright, let's play Prophecydatic Memory. 1000% decline that one. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Now we get to see if we can beat a Monument to Endurance. Alright, we have Prismari Command to beat the Monument to Endurance next turn. And also draw 2 cards for Picklock Prankster. This is choose 2, right? Yep. So they're going to get some good value out of this, but then it's going to be gone, and we won't have to worry about it anymore. Crackling Drake, eh? That's exciting. Not going to do it this turn, though. We're going to Picklock Prankster. This is actually not good. I shouldn't have done it in this order. Destroy target artifact. I will draw 2, destroy the monument. And I think keep both of these cards. They're both just super important to how I plan to win the game. Like Treasure Cruise is needed to refuel. And Crackling Drake is needed to win the game, assuming they deal with this Prankster. So they get to draw a card and drain me for 3 here. And then potentially something else. If I don't know, if they have like another one of those madness cards that deals 3, they can kill my Prankster. Alright. No, they're just taking the 3 damage. And soul partitioning the Profts. We decline. We discard the 2 cards we drew. Alright, now we are both top decking, except I have Treasure Cruises. One of which is in my hand, so I think we should be good here. Yeah, like my deck is just so powerful at this point in the game. I don't need another Prismari Command. Just going to recast the Prophecydatic Memory. And cruise through some treasure. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Give me a billion card draws. can throw away Torch the Tower, don't really need it. Alright. Our hand is gas for next turn as well. And we should be in the clear here. I can't imagine them coming back from this without something truly crazy. Right, they are thinking. So they can kill a Picklock Prankster, but then I'm still way ahead in cards. And I still have a Props in play for future threats. I think we're pretty much safe here from, like, anything. Another Monument to Endurance is not going to do it by any means. Yep, they attack in, I block. They discard their card to give that indestructible. Yep. Alright. Managed to beat red-white discard. I'm not super impressed by that deck. It seems... I mean, it seems fine, right? Like, maybe being, like, aggressive with Screaming Nemesis and stuff is... Maybe it's enough to get under the super go-big decks, and that's why that deck could be good, but at least in this matchup, I seem to have all of the advantages. Alright, we're keeping this. And we're going to consider and hopefully sculpt our hand into something good. Alright, this is actually fantastic. We get to use the Spell Pierce. And I think we play this on red because of how important burn spells are in this matchup. Yep, you can resolve the Commander on the second try. That's fine. Alright, let's consider and find some interaction. And lands. We also do need lands. There's a land. And there's another land. I'm going to play Sokenzan right now because I think I'm probably going to want this pathway to be on blue in the future. Alright, there's Screaming Nemesis with a counter on it, which is very awkward. We're going to kill that and discard the Pheonix. It's a surprise tool that'll help us later. And then take 5. So we would have taken 4 from the attack. This will save us life in the long term. I think we can Treasure Cruise, technically, without getting rid of the Pheonix, but I'm not going to. I'm just going to Fiery Impulse a thing, and then Treasure Cruise next turn. Hey look, a thing to Fiery Impulse. Get out of here, Screaming Nemesis. Now, Etchings of Kamano is kind of awkward. Alright, never mind. Problem solved. So let's first spell Torch the Etchings. Second spell is Treasure Cruise at additional cost. And third spell is Free the Fae. Please put another Pheonix in. Alright, we don't. We get a Lightning Axe at least. And we get a Pheonix, which is going to be on defense. Because they still have a lot of gas left in the tank. We need blockers. Alright. We make our blocks. They Monstrous Rage. And we take 4. Alright, well we can't do all that much this turn, but we can at least kill that, put a Picklock Prankster into play, and draw an additional card to pump it up, and play a tap land. So I'm at 5 against mono red, but I have a 2/4 in play, and hopefully they're running out of steam. Hopefully. Manifold Mouse with Offspring. Does nothing this turn, is going to be very, very, very scary next turn. I think we just take the Pheonix and put it in play here. And I think we play this Hall. Alright, so we can attack. We can attack there. And then have all of our blockers up. Okay, opponent gets to give this double strike trample and draw a card. Alright, no, they don't do the smart thing. Instead, they make a mistake. You love to see it. Let's block there. Both of those have double strike. Yeah, I guess if they have Monstrous Rage again, then we lose instantly, but that's the case no matter how we block. Burst Lightning also does it. And I guess Burst Lightning we could have lived by blocking the Emberheart Challenger. But just kind of like, okay, we live and then what is the question to ask? And the answer is, and then we die next turn. Right, let's get Annul out of here. Let's go down to Treasure Cruise. Bring in Third Path Iconoclast as a blocker. Throw down the other 2 Treasure Cruise. Yeah, I don't know. Something like this. Probably good sideboard cards in blue-red for this matchup, but I don't have them. Alright. Now let's try to win here. Alright. We have a great hand. That's how it starts. Alright, Stormcarve, Coast tapped. So the next turn we can go Pathway Artist's Talent. Or Lightning Axe plus Opt if we're desperate enough, but it looks like we're not. So we need double red for Anger. So we're going to make sure we have that. And just get the Artist's Talent out. And I want to be tapped out here because I want them to commit hard to the board if possible, so that I can Anger of the Gods them. Alright, there's a Heartfire hero, which is not really committing hard to the board like I want, but... So I think we pass this turn and use cantrips to set up. If things get super dicey, we can Lightning Axe. But I would like to get an additional thing with my Anger. Yeah, okay. Let's free the Fae here. Pitching the other Picklock Prankster. Alright, Floodmaw is great. Floodmaw sets the Screaming Nemesis back. So back you go. Discard a land and draw. And then we just get chipped for 1 instead. Alright, now let's get rid of that. And keep Consider. So now we take 1 from the Heartfire hero. And we Sleight of Hand. Third Path Iconoclast is pretty good. So that's going to be how we eventually win the game. And it can also provide a legion of trump blockers if necessary. I think next turn we're probably just going to anger the Screaming Nemesis. Sunspine Lynx. Okay. That deals 3 to me and 1 to them. Now I need to beat that. Alright, Fire Impulse is actually great. Because that kills the Screaming Nemesis exactly. Oh, I should have cast the Sleight of Hand. Now I'm not going to get the token off of it, which is pretty bad. Magebane Lizard, very cool. Alright, they point at the Third Path Iconoclast, which is actually pretty good. So I can get another 1/1. Magebane Lizard. Why did they decide that what the aggro decks needed was sideboard cards? Like, why can't these aggro decks just not have sideboard cards, huh? Have you considered that? Well, I'm going to play another Chump Blocker and another land. And I'm going to pass. Another Sunspine Lynx. Thank you, opponent. Very cool. Alright. We bounce there. We chump block there. We will take 1 from our Consider. Alright, yep. That deals 1 to us. Can't do anything with that at the moment. Yeah, I mean, I literally just needed an answer to any of this stuff, and I didn't find it. Ah, aggro decks. What fun. Alright, we're gonna play 1 more match, I think. Hopefully not against, like, any of the decks that are good. I really just want to play against other bad decks so that I can have a fair match. Alright, this hand is fine. Opponent is mulliganing. Alright, opponent has conceded. Interesting. Well, I'm gonna click submit, and if they want to play a match, then I guess that can happen. Alright, we have a fine hand. their creature deck, which they are, because of course they are. Basic Mountain nothing into Basic Mountain Emberheart Challenger. Alright, you get out of here. Don't want to mess around with that. And we pass with Torch the Tower up. Screaming Nemesis doesn't die to Torch the Tower. You hate to see it. Alright, well, I think we just died to the Screaming Nemesis here. We find a Lightning Axe, which technically kills Screaming Nemesis, but, I mean, like, what's even the point? Yeah, so I take 1 billion there. I Lightning Axe that, discarding Artist's Talent. I take 4, I go to 5. Now I take 5, I go to 4. Right, because that's how it works. And we kill the Manifold Mouse. Oh no, of course we don't kill the Manifold Mouse. Cool. That... What a... I do love playing against aggro decks. It's very fun. And, you know, both players get to take game actions. That is certainly a true statement. Alright. We won game 1 because they mulliganed to Oblivion and conceded before the match started, so we might win the match, but not because our deck is better. Alright, well, now we get to do this mulliganing into Oblivion thing. Alright. Spire Bluff Canal, go. Mono, yeah, that's fine. I'll consider a land to the graveyard. Alright, as far as draws are concerned, we're not doing terribly. Another Kamano. And they do find the second land. And a Hired Claw. Which... I guess I'll bounce. I don't know. I mean, like, I'm going to lose this game. It doesn't really matter. Yep. Predictably, Screaming Nemesis shows up on 3. And we die to it because it's a 4/4. Okay. Yeah, alright. I think we're going to call it there for the day. Next time we play Magic is on Thursday, and I'm probably going to be playing Rakdos Midrange because that deck is super mediocre, but this deck seems just actively bad. So yeah, make sure to watch out for that. We're going to be back playing Satisfactory tomorrow from 2 to 5. As usual, we are going to be basically starting a new city from scratch to hopefully not have the flaws that the old one has with congestion and trucks going to the wrong stops and all that. So yeah, if you're interested in that, make sure to show up tomorrow.